Hello gamers, welcome back to another epic video on the Epic channel. So today we've got something that is, well, you can already see what it is lined up for you. It is an epic tier list, and if you've clicked on this video you probably already know today we're going to be covering my favorite fruits. Now, it's difficult to make these tier lists without a ranking system. So I've taken that into account and I've made my own ranking system. So the fruits that we will cover in this video will be covered by succulence. So on a scale of 1 to 5, these are all on a scale of 1 to 5. Succulence, how sweet they are, how nice they are to eat. Next will be accessibility, which is how easy it is to get into the fruit, to eat the fruit. So, you know, some fruits have skin, some don't. We'll be covering all of that in this video. 1 to 5, that is. Next is portability and concealability, because really in emergency situations, you want fruit to be more portable, concealable. If you're ever in an emergency situation and you need to take that fruit on the go, we take that into account here. So 1 to 5 again, portability and concealability. Next is durability. Now this is a simple one. It's how long is the fruit going to last? How strong is the fruit? You know, how prone is it to a good old, you know, elbow? You know, maybe a little kick there and here and there. You know, if you drop it, is it going to be okay? So that again is 1 to 5 durability. Next is gamer fuel. Now I know obviously not everyone here is a gamer, but it's really important to take into account when you are gaming how much fuel and energy a fruit will give you. Because if you need to get something, again, like it could be an emergency situation and you need to grab some fruit because, you know, you're playing some games, you're running low on fuel, you need to just grab something, what is the best? What's the best fruit? So we're going to cover that here too. And finally, we're going to cover downsides. So this will be subtracted from the total, again on a scale of 1 to 5, based on any other downsides that the fruit has. And then we have these categories here, as you see. So S, A, B, C, D. 0 obviously is a D. C is going to be 5 or above. B is going to be 10 or above. A is going to be 15 or above. And S is going to be 20 or above. So without further ado, let's go in detail into the maths behind these amazing fruits. So first off, we have the orange. Now, the orange is always a solid choice. I actually have one here. I was going to do a taste test, so I'm going to do that whilst I'm talking about it. But orange on a scale of 1 to 5 for succulence. Well, oranges are very succulent. They're very sweet. It's very often you don't very often get a not sweet orange. They're often very nice. So it gets a 4 for succulence, really. Next is accessibility. Well, I've just peeled it. Obviously you have to peel it, so it's not something you can pick up and eat, which puts it, I'd say, average accessibility. You know, it's not hard, but there's still some effort you have to put in to eat it, so that gives it +3 for accessibility. Portability and concealability, well, it's about a handful, really. You could fit maybe 2 or 3 in there. It's quite portable. You can take more than one on the go. Concealable, maybe not so much. Pretty average, basically. So we're going to say concealability and portability, it gets a 3 on the scale. Now durability, well, it has the skin, as mentioned before. So, you know, it's easy for it to get knocked about a bit and not get damaged. So for durability, I'm going to give it a 4. It's got that skin, it's got that protection, so you can. It's still a bit squishy, that's why it's not quite a 5, but it is durable. Next up, we have gamer fuel. Now, I know personally as a gamer, this is probably my go-to choice. You know, when you're just feeling low, you've got it already sliced up, basically. You could peel it when you're respawning. It's great for that. And gamer fuel wise, I mean, if I just eat this now, I mean, the succulence already is kicking in with a good 4 out of 5. But it definitely has given me that energy, and that's just one slice. I feel a lot better already, feel ready to take on the gamers. So, you know, that's good. Downsides, it does have crud. So when you open it, it's got all this white shit just around. Very unepic, honestly. And I just don't know how to deal with it, to be honest, because you can't get all of it off, but it is there, and that's a bit annoying. It's not as nice as the succulent orange itself, so we're going to give it a -3 for that. Pretty harsh, but I think pretty fair as well, personally. Overall, that gives orange a score of 17, which puts it very nicely for us in the A category. So, moving straight on, we have the banana. Now, the banana, if I can grab this image, the banana is a good fruit again. It's it's a common household choice. And it's good. It's solid. So, I mean, on a succulent scale, is it as succulent as an orange? No. So I think straight off the bat we give it a +3 because it's still very nice, but it's not as succulent as an orange. Accessibility, well, I think it's less accessible than an orange because sometimes when you're peeling it, it's difficult to start the peel. I think that really does take a toll on this score, so I'm going to give it... It's not the most inaccessible fruit on this list, but it is slightly less accessible than the orange, so I'm going to give it a +2 for accessibility. Now, portability, concealability... I mean, oranges are small, but bananas are a little bit bigger, so again, if we're comparing it to the banana here, I think we should just knock that score down for portability one more and put +2. Also, it's a very suggestive shape, which concealability-wise, not very good, you know? It's not as easy to conceal that way because people are looking at it like, you know, what is that? Durability, well, the banana is pure mushy. Even if it has a skin, you know, it's pure mushy. It just gets destroyed. So I think definitely it has to be getting a +1 for that. And actually, I've got a banana with me as well. And I mean, look at this. This is pathetic. And this is only after, say, like, if you leave it for a week. I obviously haven't been eating my gamer fuel, which is not good, but it's just the way it is. So +1 really for durability. It's not very durable, doesn't have a long lifespan. However, gamer fuel, when it is ripe, it is perfect. Honestly, it is some of the best gamer fuel I've ever had. You can just knock that out, and a great thing is if you're halfway through eating the banana and you peel it, oh, see, this is why accessibility is a 2 here. But if you peel it, you see you have this little peel. So if you're eating it and you're halfway through a respawn and you respawn all of a sudden, you can just lay it down on the peel on your desk, which makes for epic gamer saves when you're respawning in and you need to get back in the game quickly. So I think gamer fuel wise, absolutely up there. It's a +5 for me. Downsides, well, other than the ones that we've mentioned, like the low shelf life, you know, not really any other to mention. So that puts banana at a 13 score, which puts it nicely into the B category, which surprised me because I do like bananas, but it's definitely a B. So moving on, we have the pineapple. Well, the pineapple, we better speed this up, I think, because this is moving quickly here. So the pineapple is succulence. Well, it's a personal preference. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the pineapple, but it's a +2 from me. I like it, but not that much. I don't really care, to be honest. Accessibility, though, pineapple is poor. Very, very poor. It suffers greatly from having a very hard skin. It's pretty much impossible to open and get the pineapple itself without a knife, without a very sharp knife. So it gets a 0 for accessibility. Same for portability and concealability. It gets a 0 because it's so massive and so big, and it's got this big shooting leaves out the top and stuff. Not good. Not good for its concealability. So if you're in an emergency situation, you ain't concealing that pineapple, bro. It's not happening. Durability though, the skin, even though it's hard to get into, gives it a massive durability. Easily a +5. It can take anything. In fact, it would hurt you more than it would hurt the fruit to swing this shit about. It would hurt. Gamer Fuel, because of its long prep time and its size and other factors, it gets +2. It's not the most effective Gamer Fuel. Downsides, obviously, we have its prickly, right? It's prickly. You pick it up, it's like, ooh, don't know. So, spiky boy, not good. So we're going to give that a -2 for downsides, which gives the pineapple ultimately a 5, which is clinching at the C here. So, lucky for pineapple, it landed in the C. Next, we have the strawberry. Well, the strawberry. Succulence, easily a 4. Easily a 4. It's similar to the orange, it's up there. Accessibility, I'm going to give this one a 4. Because you can eat them right off the bat, you know, they don't have a skin that you have to peel. But they do have the like leaf stuff, the stem on the top, which can suffer the accessibility a little bit sometimes. But it's also very easily removed. It can be a bit fiddly, but it's not too bad. Portability and concealability, easy 5. The strawberry is very small, very concealable, could easily hide it in, you know, your sock, probably. You could easily hide it, you know, probably down the back of your blazer if you wore a blazer like that. Or if you had a trench coat, you could fill those pockets with it. It wouldn't be very noticeable, very easy to transport. Durability, it's not the most durable, which does suffer the portability, but we're just going to look at the durability here on its own. +2, I think, because it's not the worst. Like, bananas are much worse for durability. They just die very quick. But strawberries hold out pretty well. Gamer Fuel wise, definitely Gamer Fuel. I mean, comparable to the orange, you know, it's like you just pick it up, you eat it, you're immediately in the zone again, ready for that respawn, and you know, it makes for some epic plays, makes for some play of the games. But downside, obviously, as mentioned before, the peely stalk is a little bit difficult, so that's a -1 for that. So strawberry gets a 19, which gives it a nice A rank. So that's good. We're making some good progress here. So next up is the watermelon. Where is it? There you are. Right. So watermelon. It's an unlikely fruit. Not one of my top choices, but for succulence it gets a 3 because most of it is water, and you know, water's a bit whack. There's no flavour to water. Grow up. Accessibility, definitely a 1. Again, you need a knife to get into a watermelon. You're not going to you're not just going to be like, bang, get in that watermelon. It's not happening. Portability, concealability, 0, easy 0. It's heavy. It's big. You can't fit it in your sock like a strawberry. I mean, it's just clunky. So, you know, not good. So 0 for concealability because it's just not good. Durability, however, very strong. It's got a great skin. The only problem is when you cut it up into pieces, its durability obviously lessens because then you've got it in pieces, so you kind of have to eat the whole thing. But it's kind of too big to do that, so a little bit problematic there. But durability gets a 3, you know, bang average really. Gamer Fuel wise, I wouldn't go for this. This is definitely a no-go for gamers. You know, maybe if you're just some not gamer, some noob, probably go for this, but you know, if you're a gamer like me, you're gonna want to stay away from watermelon. So that's a +2 for Gamer Fuel. Downsides, easily the worst downside of the watermelon is the seeds. Just annoying really, especially in a gamer's scenario, you know, like you take a bite in, there's seeds in your mouth. How are you going to focus on wrecking noobs in Fortnite when you've got seeds in your mouth? Not happening. So that's a -3 for downsides. So that it gives the watermelon an overall grade of 6, which gets it a C here. C. Now onto the raspberry. Now, raspberry is easily top tier here, right? So, succulence, immediate 5. There is nothing that tastes better than the raspberry. I understand that, you know, some of you people might be butthurt by my opinion, but this is fact, alright? This is fact. Raspberries taste the best out of every fruit. Accessibility, again, 5. You don't have to do anything. When you buy them in a packet, you pick them up, you put them in your mouth. Easy. There's no faffing with skin. You know, none of that stupid bullshit. You just put it in your mouth. Portability and concealability, again, 5. Easily hidden down your sock. It's fine. It's fine. You could probably put these in your shoe. You know, like, there's so much room because they're so small. You could put them anywhere, mate. Durability, it does lack. It does lack in durability. It's definitely a +2. It's not as worse. It's not as bad as the banana still. I think the banana is a lot worse, but it is mushy. Most people don't go around like mashing raspberries, so no big deal there, but it is not durable, so +2 for that. However, gamer fuel, is it gamer fuel? Yes, it is gamer fuel. It's very easy to eat, you know, it's very quick when you're respawning, when you're in that loading lobby ready to play some squads on Fortnite, smash some noobs, Victory Royale, you know, it's up there. So it's a +4 for gamer fuel. And downsides? None. It's got no downsides, alright? It's fantastic. So that's an easy S rank for the raspberry, coming in at 21 points out of 25, which is pretty impressive. So next is the lemon. Now the lemon is a controversial one because it's a sour boy. It's a sour boy. So succulence, I've actually got a lemon here. Succulence is 1, easily 1, because it, you know, it's nice, but it is also sour. You never pick it up and eat a lemon raw. What are you, a madman? You're a masochist. Accessibility, you're going to need a knife to get into this one. You're going to need a knife. You can peel it, but I mean, even with a knife here, I'm kind of struggling. I am a pussy though, so that might explain that. Anyway, as you can see, you're going to need a knife if you're going to do it properly. Don't be one of those people that peels lemons. It's weird. You're a weirdo. So yeah, accessibility 2, definitely. Portability, well, it's the same size as an orange, so it gets a 3 there, easy, no fuss. Durability, I'd say a 4. It's strong. It is strong. It's got a very tough skin, tougher than the orange. So that's a 4 for the, that's a 4 for durability. It does have seeds. I should have mentioned that. That is a problem. Gamer fuel wise, definitely a 0. I mean, that is not gamer fuel. That is distracting. It's not good. You know, if you're playing Fortnite, not happening. If you're playing Minecraft, your house is going to get blown up. Fuck off. Oh, no. Not happening. Not happening. So that's a problem for the lemon. So, downsides as well, no slices. Not good. I'm actually going to have to eat some of this orange to cleanse my mouth there. Much better, much succulent. Much more succulent. No slices. So, not good. -3. 0 for gamer fuel and -3 for no slices. However, this still gives the lemon a C with 7 points, which puts it on tier with the watermelon and the pineapple. Well, forgive me. I mean, I know this is my video, but just don't belong there, really. In fact, I'm going to drag it down to D. Even though the score was higher, it doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. So, moving on to the apple. Again, I have an apple with me. Succulence right off the bat. It's a 4. Apples taste nice. They do taste nice. Like orange, you know, it's good. Accessibility, well, it's a 5. You just watched me easily bite into that apple. No prep was needed. Easy. So that's a 5. Just like the raspberry, the heavenly raspberry. Portability, well, it's roughly the same size as an orange. I'm not going to be hiding this anywhere. Might be able to hide it between your thighs. if you had very baggy trousers. But that puts it at a +3. Durability, however, it is a +4. They do go off quite quickly, but the skin is tough, whilst also being easy to bite into, which puts it very high, really. Puts it very, very high. So +4 for durability. Gamer fuel wise, I would still pick the orange over an apple, but definitely it's not bad. It's good to easily get in it. Sorry, I'm just looking at how succulent it is. But it can be gamer fuel, so +3. It's not right at the bottom, but it's not the best. It's average. I forgot to bring up the picture. There's an apple, right? So you put the apple. Where are we putting the apple? It's a 14, really. It's a 14 score for the apple. It does have a downside, which I've given -5 for, because it is a big downside, and that is it gets stuck in your teeth, and that's really, really unepic, because I mean, it conflicts the gamer code, when you're trying to wreck those noobs and impress those girls, and you just get apples stuck in your teeth. It's going downhill. And all those victory royales are going to be for nothing. So getting stuck in your teeth is a big -5, which is the biggest downside on this list. I'm going to give that a 14, yeah. So 14 puts it nicely in B. So next we have the Kiwi. Kiwi can honestly go die. It's shit. It's pure garbage. I don't care what you say. Kiwis suck, alright? Succulence, 0. Flat out trash, honestly. Accessibility, 0. It's got hard skin. It's the size of an apple, but you can't get in it. You need a knife to get in it. What's that about? Portability and concealability, easily a 0. Because it looks stupid. You can't hide this from anyone. Everyone will know you have a kiwi on you, and it's not happening again. I know it's the same size as an apple, but an apple is just normal, Kiwi is just not. Durability, 0. I mean, it's just trash. It's pure trash. It doesn't hang out at all. No durability. It's still squashy, alright? Well, some of them, anyway. And the skin feels weird, straight up. Gamer fuel, 0. You never pick this. You'd never ever pick this. Downsides, it's rare and it's exotic and you're not going to find it, which really, after what I've said about it, sounds like a good thing. It does. And actually I would put it as a good thing, but we have to stick to the rules. That gives us a -5 for downsides. It's a big, big downside. However, this puts the Kiwi -5 score off the scale. Really, we should have an E category. I removed it because I didn't think there was any fruit that was spawned from the devil himself. But, clearly the Kiwi just needs to go sit over here like the loner that it is. Because it's poor. It's very poor. So, moving on to something much more redeeming, alright? The blueberry. Now, blueberry is a solid choice, sorry. Just give me a minute, I need to calm down after looking at that Kiwi. I'll just get it off the screen, actually. Just get it off the screen. Okay, so the blueberry... Succulence is a 3, because really it's a toss-up sometimes. Sometimes it can be sweet, sometimes it can be sour. And that is really, that's unrad, honestly. I don't want to be playing, you remember those Doritos Roulette? That's what this feels like, except the Doritos Roulette were actually fire. This is just stupid. I want them to always taste nice. Accessibility, however, is a 5. Because... Again, it's like the raspberry. You just pop it in your mouth. Done. Portability, again, a 5. Even smaller than a raspberry in most cases. Puts this very high indeed. Very high indeed for portability and concealability. This is obviously, by the way, based upon not like a whole packet of them, just a single one. Because you don't need a whole packet. Sometimes in an emergency, you just need one. That's understandable. So we're just ranging it on... Could you store one, basically? Gamer fuel wise, it's a +3. It's solid. There's plenty there. It's not very big, so it doesn't give you much fuel, but it it can be very effective at wrecking noobs, and it does taste nice. So, you know, that's always good. Downsides for it, it can be a bit seasonal, particularly seasonal. You know, oranges are seasonal, but you know, blueberries definitely go off season, and that can be a little bit unepic. So that's a -2, really, for downsides. Not the biggest downside, but a downside nonetheless. And this is starting to look very nice, this curve here we've got for the fruit tier list. It's good. So finally, we have the plum. Now the plum, succulence is a 4. I like plums. I do like plums. And it's a solid choice. My granddad likes plums, and you know, my granddad is awesome, so if he likes plums, they must be good. Accessibility is a 5. You eat it straight up, you know, there's no faff. Accessibility is a 5. Portability, concealability, well, again, it's pretty average sized for a fruit, so it gets a +3 from me. Durability, well, it's a 2. It's squishy. It is squishy. Not as bad as the banana still, but it is squishy. So that's a +2, definitely. Gamer fuel wise though, epic gamer fuel. Epic gamer fuel. There's so much wrecking noobs you can do with this. So many victory royales, you know, so many battle royales. Just so many zombies you can kill. So many races you can win with this epic gamer fuel. So that's a +4. It is definitely up there. It's one of the better gamer fuel choices. Downsides, it does have a big rock in the middle, which can be a little bit hard to work around. I've found the best technique for eating a plum is actually like starting to eat it, then putting the whole thing in your mouth, swishing it around a bit, you know, pulling out certain parts like the rock, but keeping most of it in there for good and proper gamer fuel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So downsides is the rock, -1 for that, but it still gives it a score of 17, which puts it nicely into the A category. So that concludes this epic fruit tier list. I think this is a pretty solid representation of how fruits differ and vary. I think this is very much useful. Hopefully that you found this useful, especially if you're a gamer, because I think this pretty much shows you which fuel to go for, which nitro boost, if you will, my gamers rise. So I think that's good. So thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you like raspberries. Leave a dislike if you like kiwis. I assume that's how it would be, but you can also go shove it up yours. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and yes, remember gamers. I mean, just eat your raspberries. They're the best ones, or are they? I don't remember at this point. Okay, bye.